recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Need a part for the right price? Look for that red and blue sign. Henley Auto Supply at 1510 Stonewall. Over 800,000 CarQuest parts to choose from. Domestic, European, and Asian parts. Henley Auto Supply at 903-455-1969. 455-1969. Henley Auto Supply has the right part to keep your vehicle running. And backed by the best hometown service. Henley Auto Supply. Great people, great products, great prices. Henley Auto Supply and CarQuest.
The recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients.
Okay, I have 6:06, and I will call the regular session of the City Council meeting for April 27th to order. First item will be the invocation. Pastor Dylan Reagan, Kingston Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're wearing a cover, please remove it.
Bow with me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight as your stewards of this city and of this community, Heavenly Father. God, we pray for an outpouring of your wisdom as we turn over this meeting and agenda to you. God, allow us to glorify and honor you and better this community. It's in your name and we pray. Amen.
Thank you. And I do apologize for having to have you leave during our executive session, but a lot of people are using the building and they reserve it, and the kind of training that's going on in the other room requires that be shut off, so I apologize for that. Next, we have a presentation, a tribute to Robert Roan. Summer?
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing us to recognize Robert. He was not only a former employee of ours, but he was also a good friend. I'm going to go ahead and read this, so if you'll bear with me, and then that way I don't miss anything. Robert Wayne Roan was born August 27, 1962 in Roxton, Texas, to Norma Roan and the late Robert E. Roan. Robert attended school in Roxton ISD. He attended the Rocky Ford Missionary Baptist Church, where he loved helping keep up the church. Robert was an amazing father, grandparent, brother, son, partner, and friend. His many hobbies consisted of being outside, watching cars and trucks, cooking, barbecuing, and most of all, conversating with all he encountered. In his earlier years, Robert was employed by Goodyear, retiring after 19 years. Robert began his career with the City of Greenville on April 19, 2005 as a part-time maintenance staff after retiring from Goodyear. In April 2007, Robert was promoted from part-time to full-time custodian. On August 5, 2008, he was given a Timely Performance Award recommendation for going above the call of duty. Shortly after, Robert was promoted to Custodian 1 on October 2008. Here are a few comments from his performance evaluations over the years. Works well with external groups while caring for the city's facilities and our external customers. Will go the extra mile. Smiling at all time, gets along with everyone, and an asset to the custodial department. Really worked hard to step up to train new employees when needed. Again, received a Timely Performance Award recommendation for his part in helping the Walworth Harrison Public Library earn the Excellence in Libraries Award in 2008 for his work at that facility. On January 9, 2016, was promoted to Custodian 2. Robert was very vital during the pandemic, which for the city began in March 2020. Worked many long, awkward hours to ensure buildings were fogged and safe, not only for citizens, but also for employees to come to work. Earned Employee of the Quarter for the first quarter of 2020 for his continued work ethic and his leadership within his department. Really took ownership of Reese Davis Recreation Center and worked tirelessly to get the gym floor back to an acceptable condition. On his last evaluation, his response to, "What do you expect to accomplish over the next 3 months?" And his response was, "Be happy." On Sunday, January 10, 2021, only a short time after contracting COVID-19, Robert passed away. He was not only a great employee, but also a great coworker and a great friend. He never met a stranger and will be missed by everyone in the city. Thank y'all.
Very nice, Summer. All right, next item is citizens to be heard. Citizens to be heard are invited to address the council on topics not already scheduled for a public hearing or listed on the agenda. Present your completed citizens comment card to the city secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The city council cannot act on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. Concerns will be addressed by the city staff. They may be placed on future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and your address. Carol?
John Clark.
Look, I'm in a minority tonight with this mask, but so be it. John Clark, 8705 Wesley Street, Greenville. I've lived in Greenville since 1961, with the exception of about 13 years working overseas. I fished many a night at the reservoirs, and the citizens are not the enemy in this. If we are really worried about, these are frivolous things like signs and fences, and those, they're fleas on a dead dog. The things we need to worry about are terrorist things, and terrorists are not going to poison all of Lake Number 5. They're going to go to a water tower, or they're going to go to the water treatment plant, and that's where they can inject it right into the system with a minimum of input compared to poisoning a whole lake. So the real thing we need to protect about is something of that nature. Fences, you can take a $2,000 Ford truck with a cowboy bumper on the front and drive through any chain link fence in about 3 seconds. They're not a deterrent to anybody except people like me that are 86 years old. You can, signs, I have a sign in the front door of my motorcycle shop that says, "No entry without a mask." It's both in English and in Spanish. You have to absolutely brush around it to get in. I fight with people all day long, and I had 2 people leave today mad than a Jap. The only time that a fence has ever worked is the Great Wall of China. Not one illegal Mexican has ever come over that, so that worked. But the problem we're going to run into if this gets to be washed out in the media, we have the possibility of introducing some hoaxes. So we need to be cautious of how this is discussed in the media and in the paper. And I'm not avoiding transparency. I'm just saying that there's some cuckoo who is going to hop on this to get a venue. The swimming pools, I hope we don't resort to that. I've lived in Greenville, like I say, since '61. We've filled in 3 perfectly good swimming pools since '61. I sure hope we don't fill in reservoir number 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
J.W. Reeves.
Before I start, I'd like to pass this to the council. Yes, my name is J.W. Reese Jr. I'm resident at 4103 Cordell out in Pinal. I was born and raised in Greenville, been here all my life. And this is about number 4 and 5 reservoirs. And of course, many men don't fish, many men and women do fish. I can remember when I was a child, my grandfather used to take me out there for 5 generations. 3 of them are in this room tonight. And we had picnic tables, you had grills out there, you had trash cans out there. You could go out and picnic and then go fishing. And that piece of paper I'm passing around, that's your watershed going into the facility of number 6 reservoir. That picture used to represent what the Long Branch looked like. Many years ago, when Larry Olson was Director of Public Works, he took pride in those water plants and also the reservoirs from Tawakoni. We have 2 water sources. One comes from Tawakoni. You'll see on that picture I drew there. The watershed goes into number 6. From number 6, it feeds into number 4. From 4, it goes in through the 3 pipes, and from 3 pipes, it goes into number 5. Well, from 4 to 5, there's a valve. I marked it on there. And we talked about this when I was a senior operator at the water treatment plant. You'll see that card. We talked about closing those plants down, the water plants completely down out there, the reservoirs. We even put gates up. We closed them when it rained. We opened them up after it dried up, and we were the ones that did it from the water treatment plant facility. On doing this, Larry decided that he was going to close all the plants. Then we got to talking, not only with just Larry and different ones in the city, but he says the fishermen are your homeland security, and that is true. When I was at the water treatment plant, people would call us and tell us, fish are bellied up out here. We'd go out there and do a DO count. The oxygen had depleted in the lakes, and that's what it was. We had other men's calls and say, hey, they're racing around here. We'd call the law. We'd go out there and stop them at the gate. And the law would come and apprehend them. One thing led to another. But those reservoirs like that, when we were under construction, going from a 13 MGD plant to an 18 MGD plant, the reservoirs were shut off, and all our water source was from Tawakoni. That's the only way we got our water, was strictly from Tawakoni. Our intake, we did dredging out there. We're only about a quarter mile from a boat ramp where all the boats put in their boats. You know, when they crank them up, all that oil's in the water. It's never been an issue, never has. We never had any issue with cars running off, and they ran off when we were there even. But the rocks stopped them from getting in the water. I know from a fact that I used to go to that plant around there even after I quit the city and moved on to open my own carpet store. I used to drive around there, and I still do, to look at the eagles in the winter, look at the different types of pelicans. I have pictures of pelicans this year I got. Anyway, it's not the fishermen's fault that they're closing. And Homeland Security and the gates, I don't want we couldn't have a car pass. We used to have to buy and put a lake on there, just a couple dollars a year. But if you could put a gate there with a card pass, you could go in, put cameras, you'd know who's going to those lakes and who's coming out. And that is your Homeland Security, is the people. That is your security, people, is your homeland, is the people, the citizens of Greenville. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Kevin Waldrop.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Waldrop. I live at 331 Jamie Way, and I'd like to address the reservoir closings also. First of all, I want to say thank you for your service as councilmen and women, and for Mr. Press and their folks there that do give us clean drinking water. It's appreciated. And we don't want to be fussing and arguing as citizens. We want to come up with a resolution. And as Mr. Reeves just stated right there, I think that the people of this city here are the people that's going to help out. The more restrictions we have, where there's no eyes and ears out there, less that you're going to see happening of potential problems, okay? Some of the issues that I have with just putting that gate or that fence up right there, as Mr. Clark said also, it's not going to stop someone with ill intent. It's just to keep the honest people out. That's going to keep the people out, like my nephew over there that's disabled. He can't walk 50, 100 yards. He loves to fish. And I promise you, he ain't gonna drop nothing in that lake to harm it. Okay? I've got 4 kids. I got a 14-year-old, 12-year-old, and an 18-year-old, and a 5-month-old. And my wife loves to fish more than I do. I can't even begin nowhere down around that lake. I'm gonna be wore out, exhausted. I can't even throw a rod and reel. I can't. I'm gonna be ready to go home. Okay? So I'm completely against it. I think there are some things that we can do, some compromise, as Mr. Dean has said, maybe that we should be looking for. I do think we should all be open-minded to see what resolution we can do, because we are all citizens here of this same community. And we should be able to work together and not fussing amongst one another and dividing apart. We got enough of that in our political society now. And fishing is one of the few things I can think of. It's not racial. It doesn't care what your abilities or disabilities are. It doesn't care about any of that. The fish don't care. They don't bite for certain people, right? And to take away good, clean fun and activities, man, it's going to be more harmful than good. We got so many kids out here on the street now that they don't have many things to do. And if we take one more thing away from them, that's just one less thing they have to do, and they're probably going to turn to something that's not going to be near as good for the community. Okay? To bring up some of the things that Press has said over there, the people that run off in the lake. I don't think it happens every week, not very frequent. In the number of years, he didn't give the statistics on how many cars, the people that go out there and do the drugs, and so we want to close it off. Can I tell you that there's drugs done at the sports park out there, and we're out there every night playing baseball. The police department even asks for help. If you see something, say something. If you're going to run people out where they can't see nothing. The police department ain't patrolling out there when they're drinking the beer and they're doing the donuts out there when I'm out there with my 10-year-old, 11-year-old son playing baseball. We got all these rules and restrictions. We don't mind putting another rule up here, but we're not enforcing it. 2003, y'all. 18 years this rule's been in place, and we ain't done nothing. Now all of a sudden Mr. Press shows up, maybe diligently doing his job, reading the reports. He wants to put a sign up that says no trespassing. That means stay out, don't come in, but you can fish. I'm confused. Picnic tables out here where we don't want you coming says invitation to me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ronald Waldrop.
Hello, my name is Ronald Waldrop. I live at 3904 Bodark Street here in town. Also, I'm with my father. We have Jameson Upholstery. Also, been here all of our life. As my brother explained, we're outdoorsmen. We love to hunt and fish, and having something local that you can get away from. Like my father, you know, he has terminal cancer. There's days that he doesn't feel well. Well, one of his soothing, relaxing things to do, I take him out to number 4 or 5, and we go fishing for a little bit. Like you said, you know, putting a gate up is not the answer, but, you know, compromising to make a better solution is an answer. But, you know, just closing the gate off to shut people out is going to cause more harm than good. And as my brother said, my son is disabled. He had a stroke. He's had brain surgery. He can't walk far. You know, we shut that off. There's no way for him, and he loves to fish. You know, and we have to set his line and stuff up for him, but he loves to fish. Close it off. There's no way for him to have access to it. You know, if somebody wants to do something ill to the water system, there's easier ways to do it than going out to number 4 or 5. All these creeks and drains and everything else lead back to the water system. You ain't got to drive out of your way to do some harm if you want to do harm. A gate out there is not going to prevent somebody dumping something down a drain or driving out to one of the main creeks that go into number 4 or 5. It's not going to keep it out. Just shutting it off to where people have relaxation and stuff around here isn't the answer. You know, Cache Water doesn't have sediment ponds as so-called needed. They don't have sediment ponds. They're sediment ponds Lake Twakanning that we also have access to get water from. I think that's about it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
James Waldrop.
Waldrop. I live at 3904 Bodark Street, Greenville, Texas. Been in Greenville all my life. I fished in number 4 pool out there.
Sir, you need to get closer to the microphone, please.
Okay. I fished in number 4 pool more than any of them. I fish on the northeast corner. It's about 1.75 miles around there. I got cancer. I can't walk it. Like I said, I've been here, and as far as the trash, I can load up anyone here sitting here within a 3 block, and I can show you where 15 trash dumps at right here within a mile of this place right now. Or drug needles, I own a restaurant downtown. I own Ruby's Cafe. You could walk out of Ruby's, walk out to Jordan Street, and there's shot needles all up and down. Same as some on the backside. People are gonna trash. The only way you're gonna do anything is stop the people that's trashing, don't penalize the people for going out there fishing. I mean, the city is taking away from people. They're not giving to people no more. It just breaks my heart to see people do this. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Joy Stryling.
Joyce Stryling, 6404 Buena Vista Drive, Greenville, Texas. 2019, there was a train derailment on Reese Street. Not sure why the cars are still sitting there. Any way to get rid of them? That's all.
Anybody else care? You put a card in?
Yes, I missed it.
Greg Sells, Greenville Board of Development. You know, I think this is the last night for Mayor Dreiling, right, Mayor? Your last?
Well, I'll be here on the 11th for a few minutes.
You will, that's right. But your last official overseeing the council meeting. And, you know, I just want to say from the Board of Development perspective, we so appreciate your leadership this last 6 years and everything you did for the city. Not easy doing all of this work, and I know that and they pay you a lot of money, I know, to do this. So, but you know, you've been really fair, I think, with all the things that come about, and I would like to just all of us give him a round of applause. Great job. And then, you know, we do. All of you give your time. You know, you all get paid real well to do this, I know. But the reason you're here is because you love Greenville. You love our community. You wouldn't put your name in the hat if you didn't love it. You know, there's just, y'all know how hard the work is and how many hours all of you have to put into reading all the material and everything. So, you know, I want to say thank you to Brent, Cedric, Dr. Ransom. I know there's some elections going on, but you know, whatever happens, thank you for all of you for your service on this council. If you know whatever happens, happens. But you know, let's give them a round of applause too, please. Thank you, great work. And to the new folks coming in on council, you know, we look forward to working with them as well as the new folks that are here tonight. So, thank you so much for all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to comment that it's not a one-man team at all. It's a good council that works together, and I think this council has done very well in that job. So thank you for the words.
Actually, I did have Deidre Mead.
Hi. I'm going to read this statement so I don't miss anything. My name is Deidre Mead. I live at 414 Division Street in Greenville, Texas. I'm here today to discuss how plans are created and managed for the future of Greenville, Texas. For many years, I have tried to be part of the solution for all things Greenville. I have served on several boards and committees over the years, and I have appreciated the opportunity to do so. I am currently serving on the Greenville Forward Comprehensive Plan Committee. In the last year, I've attended a few planning and zoning meetings, and I've observed that each zoning request is handled as if in a vacuum. The comprehensive or master plan is referenced by city staff, which typically states whether the application meets the minimum requirements according to the plan. What I found surprising is the comprehensive plan isn't used as a reference during deliberation. It's as if each application for a zoning change is a puzzle piece, but there is no picture for the P&Z members to see how all the zoning pieces fit together. I thought that the current 2011 comprehensive plan that is in force today would be available at all P&Z meetings and be an oft-referenced source, but that isn't the case. I also thought there would be interactive maps that are used as a reference for the location of each application, but that isn't the case either. So I have questions. What are the roles of the P&Z Commission members? To act as a review board expected to make sound, informed judgments on whether a zoning application is a good fit for Greenville? As a review team that simply checks the boxes according to the recommendations of city staff? To actually evaluate the merits of a conditional use permit, which are often complex in nature? To create, maintain a comprehensive plan? Is the P&Z Commission kept up to date on other boards, the Transportation Board, for example, that may have valuable input into the review process? Are the P&Z members allowed to evaluate each and every application with a wealth of up-to-date knowledge about the application, the surrounding areas that are impacted, and the effect on other city plans, zoning considerations? What does City Council expect from P&Z recommendations? That the application was reviewed and vetted to the merits of the plan, that the P&Z recommendation has real substance and should be treated as such, or that the application meets the minimum criteria and can pass through to council for the real review. I leave you with the image of the old Best Western Hotel on I-30, the condemned eyesore that hasn't gone away in years now. Good planning and management practices can prevent such a travesty. Sometimes good planning means it is okay to challenge applicants, board members, council members, city staff, and ourselves. It is also okay to say no to some applications that just don't work for our city, even if they check all the boxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, Carol?
No.
Okay, at this time, I will close the citizens to be heard. We will move to item 6A, consideration and action on a request for a conditional use permit, prepackaged liquor retail store on property located at 8110 Wesley. LaTora?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to build a new liquor store, depot store, in the old PetSense location that is on 1110 Wesley Street. The property is currently zoned general retail, and it's really it's surrounded by general retail and commercial zoning currently. According to, as we look into the land use plans that is existing, that area is right now planned to be retail. So it basically fits within what was planned for the future in that area. And it basically kind of falls in line with what's surrounding it. It's a retail store. Most of the changes for this building will be interior since they're using the existing building. Nothing will really be changed as far as the outside appearance is concerned. And this could possibly contribute to the long-term economic plan by bringing retail within a vacant structure. So the item passed 4-3 at P&Z. And there were some concerns, but I will just say there were 6 property owners who were actually notified. We received 0 in favor. We did receive 1 in opposition, and that was because they felt as though we already have 2 liquor stores that were approved on Wesley Street. They thought that was enough. And then we received 0 returned in the mail. And so the only concerns that were brought that I know of in P&Z was the fact that there will be a second liquor store that is also on the agenda located in close proximity to it, and then the fact that this current owner also already just got approval for the Collins Street Bakery, so them having 2 properties. anybody have any questions.
Are there any questions for LaTora? Thank you, LaTora. Is Mr. Kareem Akami available? And I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
You pronounced it perfectly. Kareem Akimi, 1120 Harbor Haven, South Lake, Texas. I just wanted to speak on behalf of myself. I was very excited about being approved, or in consideration for the CUP permit, and to find out a few weeks later that it's not in close proximity that another liquor store was approved. It's actually right next to us, and just to personally say, I really don't feel that it would help either of our businesses by being next to each other, with an additional liquor store being right across the highway from us as well. So there would be 3 liquor stores all on the same street, competing against each other as far as sales and getting tax dollars for this great city. I just want to say that if I could ask that only one of us get approved, either I'm speaking on behalf of 8110 Wesley, either that if you could please approve the 8110 Wesley Street CUP permit. I speak on behalf of Liquor Depot. It's a family business that I'm a part of. We've been in business for over 40 years. We are in 13 different cities in 6 different counties, and we're one of the top 5 liquor chains in all of Texas. We do have the experience. We do know what it takes to run this business, and we have been successful in all of our in all of the cities that we've done business in. That's all I would like to say, and if you have any questions, I'm free to ask.
Are there any questions for him?
So you you already have the approved one at the Collins Street Bakery?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. Do you have experience with having multiple stores in other cities?
Of course.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that.
So we have multiple locations in Arlington, in the city of Arlington, in the city of Irving, in Dallas. It's no burden to us at all of opening multiple locations, and we have the experience of opening in multiple locations in the same city, so it doesn't bring any stress or any challenge to us at all for doing that.
Okay, so opening 2 at the same time in the same city?
Yes.
Any other questions for him?
Yes. So you say you are at Collins Street Bakery right now?
Yes.
That's the one we just approved. And so the other company that's going in is right next door?
Right next door.
Okay.
And it was our intention of opening 2 in the city. That was the promise that we gave to the city of Greenville when we came in to apply for these permits.
I'm not trying to be funny, but if you want to be a good neighbor, then why don't you cancel yours and let them open?
I mean,
I'm just asking because you posed a question for us to.
I want to do what's in best interest of doing business.
But if you're thinking to compete, it's going to be a bad thing to have 2 liquor stores beside each other, since you already have since you have a building already.
Right.
Why don't you pull your permit and let them open?
I just want to say, I feel like we would run that location much better. I don't know the other owner. I did speak on behalf of myself at Planning and Zoning last week, and he didn't even show up for that. I don't know if he's here today, but I do take this very seriously, and I would sure hope that this council takes this matter very seriously as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. At this time, at this time, I will open it up to a public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of this issue?
We have Cher Hackamy.
Good afternoon, Your Honor, all the city council members, city council persons. My name is Cher Hakimi, 1120 Harbor Haven, South Lake, Texas. We do own and operate a chain of liquor stores, like Kareem mentioned, in excess of about 30 stores in 11 counties and 13 cities. We have extensive experience of nearly 4 decades in this business. To council members' question, When we go to cities or counties, we do open multiple stores. And the reason for that is that you have to have the purchase power to be able to extend the discounted rate to the citizens or to the customers of that city or county. This is a highly capital incentive or intensive business. I feel and I sympathize with the mom and pop operations, but one of the reasons that over the past nearly 4 decades, which I experienced, I've been in this business since 1982, that 13 different chains of liquor stores, anything from Majestics to Bottle Shop to Centennial to Siegel to Hasties and Buckhorns and Sony's, all of those are big liquor chains. They owned and operate 15, 20 stores. They all went out. Red Coleman's, Don Coleman's, all of those people. It's because this is a chain operating business. If you don't have the purchase power, you will not be able to extend that discount. One of the reasons you have specs in here, because they are highly capitalized, and we are one of the top 5s in the state. We can own and operate multiple stores in this city and other cities, and we have the extensive experience to do so. If you allow 2 liquor stores right next to each other, and the one that doesn't have the ability to function will not be able to sustain or survive. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deidre Mead.
Pardon me?
Deidre Mead.
Deidre Mead, 414 Division Street, Greenville, Texas. I have questions that I think should be considered. 2 liquor stores right beside each other sounds like bad business for everybody, and I think the 2 parties are agreeing with that. 4 liquor stores in Greenville seems like a lot to me, and I wonder if we're diluting our liquor sales too much, and then we're going to end up with small places instead of 1 or 2 big quality stores. So I'm not for or opposed to this particular zoning change request, but I would ask, what guarantees do we have that the Collins Street Bakery is going to open and this is open and this other location will open versus I just really wanted to get 2 approved places, and then I'll pick which one I'm going to move into. Yet the city now has another building zoned for liquor sales that is now open to someone else moving in, which may not have the buying power or the name. So I think this needs to have careful consideration. And I'm really worried that we're about to sign up for too many different liquor stores in too many places. And I have to admit, I'm surprised there's that many applications, but what do I know? So please consider that carefully, and maybe even table this for some more research and more commitments. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak in favor of? Go ahead and sit down, and then I'll ask. Anybody opposed to this? You needed the exercise.
I did.
It's good for your health.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Larry Ellis, 8580 Cedar Creek Lane, Greenville, Texas. How many liquor stores are we going to have? Come on, this is getting ridiculous. This is a lot of liquor stores all at once. And I agree with Deidre. We got to have a plan. We got to kind of understand what our plan is, what our city is going to be like, what it's going to look like. And it can't be liquor store here, liquor store here, liquor store here. That's not a good plan. Are we going to have a bunch of little bitty liquor stores? I mean, I didn't think that's what we were all after when we all talked about, voting for this and everything. I thought we were talking about kind of not having that environment. not having that look when we drive down the street. So I would ask you, I understand they've gone through the process, they filled out all the paperwork, they're here, they're probably super qualified, but come on, somebody at some point has got to go, time out. We got to rethink this a little bit. We got to think about how our town is going to look. And again, these people are probably super qualified. This is nothing about them. This is about Greenville. This is about where we live, where we raise our kids, and our quality of life when we go driving around our community. So we could see something that looks nice and we're proud of. Let's think about that, please.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak against this? Run the timer.
Ronald Waldrop, 3904 Bodark Street. As I had spoken in the past, me and my father has a poultry shop here in town. He's been in business in this town since 1968. It's kind of hard to say, you can have a business, you can't, because my competitor right across the street wants to be in business, so you can't be in business. That's kind of a childish game to look at it. You can go to any of these restaurants here in town and drink liquor. You know, if people can come in business here and put in a liquor store, who says they can run it and be able to maintain it? That's the people going in business. It's not for this gentleman to say, hey, I want to monopolize the liquor business in Greenville. I don't want you guys to say, hey, I want to be in business, but don't let him. That's not how the American way is. When my father started in business here, there was 14 shops. Not one time, even still to the day, there's only 3. We send business to other people. If we can't get to something, we send it to one of our competitors. To us, it's not a competitor, it's like another person. Help thy neighbor out, basically. And for somebody to sit here and say, hey, I want my business to be open and don't let them business be open, is childish. And when you can go to any restaurant here and drink liquor and take a chance of getting in a vehicle, somebody getting in a vehicle and driving home, versus going to a liquor store down the corner and picking it up and going home and drinking it at home, I say let a liquor store be on every corner. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak against this? All right, at this time, I will close the public hearing.
Mayor Dreiling,
Jerry?
I'd like to move that action on this item be postponed until second meeting in May. Date certain is May 25, 2021.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. Any comments? I will then please vote. And that's 6-1.
Mayor, can I make one suggestion as somebody who won't be here? I noticed that we'll have about 5 people, I think new people on council at that point who have less than 6 or 7 months experience. It may be helpful to have a discussion or about what a conditional use permit is and what the council's role in approving, adding conditions to the conditional use permit. That might be helpful.
Can't do that right now, but
right
in the future.
I'm passing that along to people who will be here.
All right, next item is 6B, consideration and action on a request for a conditional use permit, prepackaged liquor retail sales on property located at 8118 Wesley Street. Matora?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the applicant is looking for a conditional use permit for Hunt's Liquor Store, which would be located at the old Snap Fitness Gym location, which is at 811 Wesley Street, which is really next door, separate shopping center to the previous applicant. Currently, that area is zoned general retail, which we're not changing the zoning, we're just adding a conditional use permit to be able to sell liquor. It's currently zoned general retail, and it's surrounded by general retail and commercial, which is what has been planned for that area as well, being that it's on Wesley Street. Since it's a general retail zoning, it meets the conditional use permit requirements for the ordinance, and is in line with other retail stores in the area. Just like the other one, they won't make any exterior changes, mainly interior changes to the building, and it will bring business to existing vacant structure. I think the difference between this one and the other one, I was told, is that this applicant actually purchased and owns this building versus renting it. This actually passed 4-3. The same comments were of concern, which is the distance. I think members actually asked if there was a minimum distance requirement, which there isn't. And so we notified 6 property owners, and we received 0 responses in favor and opposed to it, and 0 returns in the mail.
Any questions for Latoro? Thank you. Is Mr. Matthews or a representative from Mr. Matthews here? Okay, at this time I will open it up to public hearing. Is there anybody wish to speak in favor of this? Anyone wish to speak against this?
Deidre Mead.
Did she leave? Anybody else? This time I will close the public hearing.
Mayor Dreiling, I'd like to move motion 6B postponed until May 2021.
The bottom of it is.
No. Hello?
Yeah, I think you had it too far down.
Okay.
Yeah, say it again, please.
Okay, I'd like to move that this item 6B, that the action on this item be postponed until the May 25th, 2021.
I'll second. I have a motion and second. Any discussion on that within the council? Please vote. And it passes 6-1. Both 6A and 6B have been postponed until the second meeting in May. Item 6C, consideration and action on a request for a change in zoning from agricultural to planned development single family on property located at 8070 Monty Stratton Parkway. Latora, you're a popular person tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the applicant is seeking zoning change to planned unit development for a single-family subdivision, which is located kind of near that emergency clinic that is actually under construction near I-30 in Monty Stratton. The property is currently zoned agriculture, and it's surrounded by commercial and agriculture zoning. That area is actually kind of planned for residential, which is what they're planning for. They're actually planning to put both single-story and two-story homes in the area. Due to the configuration of the lot, there's approximately 17 acres that's like undevelopable. And so they're adding trails to that area, and then they also have a park that is in the central area of the residential subdivision. Based on future land use planning, it falls in line with it, it complies with it. It would just actually begin a new development of residential along Monty Stratton that's not currently there. And it could contribute to the long-term economic plan by bringing new housing to a vacant parcel. This actually passed 7-0 at P&Z, and we notified 6 property owners, and and received 0 in favor, 0 in opposition, and 0 returned in the mail. And I think the applicant has a presentation.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I will let the city secretary kind of click us through the presentation, but appreciate the opportunity tonight to present Stratton Place to y'all. Given this is the first residential development that we've done here in Greenville, Texas, I figured I'd take an opportunity to introduce ourselves very quick. My name is Bobby Samuel. I'm our VP of Land with Green Brick Partners, 2805 Dallas Parkway, that's Plano, Texas. A little bit of quick information about our company. We are a fully diversified home builder, publicly traded home building company. We have eight different brands in 4 major markets across the country. This particular deal, we would be looking to include our Trophy Signature Homes brand, which is wholly owned by our Green Brick corporate entity. And we have 4 other home building companies here in DFW that include the CB Jenny brand, Normandy, Southgate Homes, as well as Center Living. As early as last year, recently as this year, I should say, going into last year, Forbes ranked us as one of the top 5 fastest growing companies in the country by Forbes. And here locally for residential strategies, we are ranked number 5 of the top 50 home building companies here in DFW. As staff just mentioned, just the location map here, we're just on the west side of Monty Stratton Parkway, just north of I-30 and west of Greenville Sports Park. And a little bit more details about the concept plan that's included as part of the PD. In total, it's approximately 70 gross acres. We do plan on a mix of 2 different lot sizes with a little bit weighted heavily more to the 60-foot lots versus the 50-foot lots. The PD language actually calls for a 50-50 mix, but this particular concept plan, again, is weighted a little bit more to the 60s. This actually shows 222 planned residential lots. Again, the PD language allows up to a maximum of 230. That's just some flexibility as we get into the detailed engineering and land planning, platting period. In case there's some efficiencies in the land plan, we can get a little bit more out of it. As was mentioned, we do have a little over 17 acres of open space, predominantly in that kind of northwest corner. That is kind of a drainage area at the moment, but we do plan to put some native type of trails in there, kind of similar to the picture that's shown, as well as approximately a 2-acre community park kind of right in the middle of the project. Both of those areas will be owned and maintained by the future homeowners association that will be formed as part of the community. A couple other things about the development. We do plan on doing a masonry screening wall along Monty Stratton Parkway, and we'll have an entry monument sign as well at the divided entry boulevard that you see on the northern connection there. Our home prices will probably range between the mid-200s up to the mid-300s. Obviously, the market is changing very quickly as of late, as everybody probably knows, but that would be our targeted price initially for the development. Just a little bit about Trophy Signature Homes, which would be the brand we would bring into this community. We've been expanding pretty rapidly across DFW over the last couple of years under that brand. Obviously tonight, with your approval, we'd certainly be wanting to kind of expand that map a little bit further to the east. Those 3 communities that are kind of on the right-hand side of the map that you see, that's 3 communities actually in Royce City that we're currently building in. Two we're currently building in. One is about a coming soon community, but I know one of them shows, or 2 of those show as coming soon, but 2 of them are actually developed and we're actually actively building in, but one is still on coming soon. So if you're interested in seeing any particular product that's on the ground, I'd encourage you to swing by Parkside Village, which is just south on Irby Campbell, just south of I-30. Just a little bit of representative product for our Trophy brand. Feel free to just click through these, just some single story and some 2-story product that we would plan to build in this particular community. And with that, I will open it up to any questions, or I can certainly take some after the public hearing is open. Thank you.
Anybody on the council have questions for him?
I have a couple questions that may be more for Latora, but I guess I'll ask one to you first. What Monty Stratton Parkway is not, it's not complete, I'll just say that. It's not completely built and it has some issues. I mean, is there a plan to finish out that road leading into you, or are you just going to use what's there?
Our plan is to use what's there. We did have some discussions with staff on that, and I certainly don't want to speak for them if they'd like to step up and say something different, but there's no plan specifically related to our development to improve that. I think there's been some discussions internally about how that ultimately may be improved by the city at some point in time. But yeah, nothing specific for us. You know, we would have to include what I would call a turn lane there, because I know it's a kind of a divided median section for that northern entry that was shown, for that double divided entry there.
And my next question is for LaTora, but if anybody else has a question for...
Anybody else have a question?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, this public hearing, anybody wish?
John Kelso.
I was going to ask LaTora a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, LaTora, you said that this is part of the, that this is consistent with the land use plan for that area, and I guess I haven't seen the land use plan. I was just a little surprised that that was residential there.
Yeah, the future land use plan has like a commercial corridor along I-30, but then as you start to get further away from I-30, it's more residential zoning in their current land use plan.
Okay, and is this property in the Southwest Area Plan as well?
It is within the,
I think that may be right.
I would believe so, yes.
Okay, and it's consistent with this use?
The South Area Plan, they had a different model where there were like mixed-use villages,
right,
and things. So it's a little bit different, but it is residential.
Okay,
so.
And this is right across from the sports park, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank
Latoya,
you.
is there a break in the median on Monty Stratton where they want to go in for an entrance?
I don't think there's one currently. I think they're going to have to do the same thing as the emergency center, where they will have to provide that access.
So they'll have to do the break in the median?
Yes.
So it's not totally, we're not going to do anything with the road?
No, not that I know of, no.
Is
that
there,
wasn't discussed. So,
okay.
I don't know if that's a part of a future plan or something else, but they're not
Well, the
making
bottom
any,
line is, in
any
order
improvements.
for somebody going north on Monty Stratton to turn into the housing section, they're not going to go all the way up to the end and turn around and come back.
No, they should provide a break in the median to allow.
That's what I was asking.
Yes, yes. That improvement that they are doing, yes.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions?
That improvement will be part of the PD, correct?
Yes.
One other quick question. Do you remember off the top of your head, as we're developing the new comprehensive plan that's under development, if this area fits in, if this residential fits into that model?
Yes, it does. It's residential zoning there. I think it was medium density zoning. I mean, land use planning for that area, so.
Any other questions for LaToya? All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, at this time, I will open the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak in favor of this?
John Kelso.
John Kelso, 6005 Horn Drive. Changing agricultural to planned development zone, that seems like a good idea. You could probably have done this same thing, breaking that acreage up into two sections, having an SF3 and SF2, but bundling it all together into a planned development zoning makes a lot of sense. Now you'll have a little bit more say and control into the trail that he's proposing, the park he's proposing. He can't just say he's going to do that and then not do it, and won't have to worry about looking at his plat is the only way to make him do it. But having it all as a planned development, all wrapped together, makes a lot of sense. I hope you guys approve this. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak in favor of this? Anybody wish to speak against this? This time I will close the public hearing on this. I'll entertain, if there's no other questions from the council, I will entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
All right, Cedric. And Al. Cedric, your motion is to approve?
Yes.
Okay. Please vote. And it passes 7-0. All right. Next on the agenda is ordinance, item 7A. I'm sorry, I need to read something first. We have public testimony. Public testimony occurs when citizens are invited to address the council on topics already on the agenda. Speakers will be invited to speak at the time the council discusses the item. Please present a citizen comment card to the city secretary. Speakers will be limited to 2 minutes for each agenda item. Ordinance on 7A, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing approval of a contract for a mowing service. Brett?
Yes, Mayor, Council, thank you. Good evening. As most of you know, and for the new members, we do contract out our mowing services at East Mount Cemetery and Forest Park Cemetery. So we're seeking an ordinance authorizing a contract with Holland right-of-way mowing. We did send this out for bid March 6th and March 13th. We did receive 4 bids. First one was Holland right-of-way with an annual fee of $86,204.70. Then we had OGO Group at $95,520 per year, and then Crew Cut came in at $154,800 per year, and then Sharp Landscaping at $160,000 per year for a 3-year term. So the impact to the budget is currently we budget $80,000 a year with Crew Cut, and so the impact would be an additional $6,204. So we did look at the references for Holland right-of-way. They're based out of Austin, Texas. They do City of Burleson, City of Waco, and this is something, they're an oil and gas company. However, they've been expanding their operation into land procurement and then mowing right-of-way services and municipal mowing. So none of those cities had any issues or have had any problems with this company. You know, one of my biggest concerns was just they're not local. So if we need something, you know, how soon can they get there? And like the guy in Burleson said, you know, one day they showed up with 25 mowing crews and did their whole city in one day, and then didn't come back for another 30 days. So for us, we don't see any reason that we have any issues with them. So we're asking for the council to approve them. So I'll answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the council?
How often do they mow?
We typically do 36 cycles per year. So the tricky thing about the mowing business is you have the growing season, which is about 8 months, 9 months, and then you have the non-growing season. So a lot of these contracts, you know, are structured up where if we said we want you to mow 4 times per month, you know, basically that's 48 cycles per year. We can't afford that. So what we've started doing is doing 36 cycles. So during the non-growing season, December, January, February, we'll just bring them in once per month during those times and 4 times per month during the growing season.
And the issues that the cities, I guess, don't do the mowing because we can't afford it. We don't have the manpower.
I'm sorry?
I said, what are our reasons for not mowing the cemeteries, city-owned cemeteries?
Well, back in 2009, we were maintaining our cemeteries. However, we expanded our mowing operations within our parks to include right-of-ways and a lot of wide area shredding. And so when we did that, it was cheaper for us to contract it out to a company. Entry-level employees about $50,000 a year to me. give or take. Talia would know a little closer, but, you know, so that's around 200,000 for a crew of 4 per year. We have the equipment, but then you got fuel and some other supplies, so it's been more cost-effective for us to contract that out at 80,000 a year. Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you. Anybody in the public wish to testify on this issue? None heard. I'll close the public testimony. If there is no other comments or questions from the council, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Move for approval.
Brent?
I second.
Kristen?
I think I missed one.
Please vote.
I think I didn't put this one up there. This is for the consent agenda. So if you could just show of hands. Thank you.
And it passes 7-0. All right, next we go, there is no resolutions. We'll go into consent calendar.
City Council meeting minutes from April 13th. Ordinance authorizing final payment to Texas Bit. Ordinance authorizing final payment to Tricon. Resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the city and Splash Kingdom. Resolution approving the appointment of Karen Bates to place 4 and the reappointment of Susan Harding to place 5 on the Juice Board. And resolution approving the reappointment of Summer Spurlock to the TMPA Board of Directors.
Does anybody on the council have a problem with any of these issues or wish to discuss any of the individual issues?
I don't want to pull anything out, but I just have a comment that to appreciate Brett Quarles working with Splash Kingdom to get a place for people to have swimming lessons in our city. I think that's important, and we don't have a pool anymore, so I appreciate the work he's done on that wherever he went. Oh.
Anybody in public wish to speak on any of these issues? None heard. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Move to approve. I move the second. Wait, I move the second.
Pardon me?
A second.
Tim and Kristen.
Don't like me.
Please vote. That passes 7-0. Thank you. All right, next we have city staff, city council reports. Up is the financials from Talia.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. This will be as of March 31st, which puts us 6 months or 50% through the fiscal year. Looking at the general fund, as of March 31st, our revenues are in at $19 million or 73% of expected collections. Expenditures are at $13.7 million or 50% of budgeted expectations. And then I also included a little note down there at the bottom that we did receive $1.3 million of CARES Act revenue. So if you're looking at our revenues, wondering why they're a little bit higher than normal, that does include that amount of money that was deposited in the month of March. So sales tax, this is year to date through March, are up $458,000 or 10.87% compared to March 2020 year to date. So down at the bottom, you can see our actual sales tax year to date is about $4.2 million. Remaining is, in order to reach our target, is about $3.5 million. Looking at the city of Greenville versus our comparison cities, and the portion that the city actually receives is about $642,000 remitted for March, which if you're only looking at the month of March is up 16.86% compared to March of 2020. And those are January sales reported in February, and then the city receives them in March. The history of March sales tax, you can see looking at the last few years, we've been kind of flat, and then obviously you have a big uptick this year.
I always get confused. We're 5 months or 6 months sales tax?
At the end of March. So
But this report.
So this report, if you're thinking about when they're collected versus when they're received, this is really up through January collections that we receive in March.
From a budget standpoint,
From a budget standpoint, we budget that way.
we're
You know,
6 months in.
Correct.
So we're halfway through.
Correct. Water and sewer fund revenues through March, as a percent of budget, about 48%, $6.8 million, so pretty close to that 50% through the year. You would expect it to be about 50%. Hotel motel in March 2021 actually increased 17% compared to March of 2020. So if you think about where we were at in March of 2020, that would have been right when we were kind of going into this new world of shutdowns and nobody's traveling, things like that. So now we're kind of really getting a true year-to-year picture of pandemic versus starting to come out of that a little bit. So March 2021, we're up 17%. Any questions?
Any questions for her? All right, thank you very much. We have the Board of Development second physical report or financial report.
Thank you, Mayor. Greg Sims, Greenville Board of Development. As far as our revenue, our juice fund is up. We're about 50.5% of the budget. Our sales tax 4A EDC, we're running about 60.7% of our budget for revenue collection. Operating expenses, 47.4% for Board Development and 32.7% for 4A EDC. We've transferred money previously over to the city for Industrial Drive expansion and Rutherford Drive redevelopment. We've also still have money in our marketing account for later this year as we move forward with downtown economic development tourism programs and our BREP programs, and all things are good. We have a lot of projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is proposed agenda items. Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up?
Yep, I'd like to bring up, I won't be here, but I'd
You're
like
not
to
gonna
bring
be
up
here.
possibility. I can still bring up something, right?
I didn't say you couldn't.
But
you're not going to get elected again.
The idea that Mr. Reeves had of having car access with a card access, maybe $5 a year to get one, and a sign that says, if you want access, go to Reese
So
Davis
what
Center.
you're looking for is
something like that.
a solution for the fence.
Yes, to allow vehicular traffic.
Any other items?
Mayor, I'd like to at least just put a place marker in for a work session on prior to the 25th. Probably won't be the 11th, but.
Okay, discussion on
A discussion on CEP, their purpose.
anything else?
Yes, the issue with the lakes, what, I know everybody's wanting to see the lakes back open. How do we go about making that happen? Do we need to wait until we put in like stipulations like the gate pass or like other things that we can get done in order to open at least back up Lake 4 where they can drive in, like Brett was talking about the gate pass? Like how soon can we get things done to get the lake back open?
That's going to depend on the city manager and our directions to her.
Okay.
So I think the solution on the fencing problem will be a discussion item if the new mayor wants it on there. And then from there you can direct how it should be done or what resolution should be done. Whether it's tear those down and put up a annual car fee or something like that, that'll be a decision by the council. Any other items on the to be proposed? Okay, moving on. Item 12, we've got board and commission minutes. We've got the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes from January 25th, 2021, the Board of Development minutes from March 16th, 2021, and Library Advisory Board minutes from March 16th, 2021. Does anybody have any questions on those? All right, at this point, I'm going to just identify that we have two candidates for mayor, and I wish them both the best of luck. If you have not voted, please plan on voting on Saturday and come in and make your decision on who you want to help run this city. And that's what being a mayor is about, is trying to guide people and get it done. And one last thing is I'd like to thank everybody for my opportunity for the last 6 years to be the mayor. It's been an interesting time. The last year and a half has not been the most fun, but overall I think the city has done very well in the last 6 years. We've seen a lot of growth, but I think the growth over the next 3 to 6 years is going to be even greater. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for letting me be your mayor. Brent, did you want to say anything since?
Yeah, I'll say something real quick. Number one, I want to thank you, Mayor, particularly the Project Restore program, which was your initiative from the very beginning, and that has been a roaring success. And I remember a lot of discussions back when I was city attorney. What are we going to do with all these lots? What are we going to do with all these lots? We just mow them and mow them and mow them, and nobody wants them. And you came up with a plan that was a right plan at the right time and did a great job. And to everybody else on council, just thank you guys for putting in the work, coming in here and thinking hard and speaking your mind and listening to other people. And I think we've done a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things to come. And
Jerry, you're a candidate. Do you have anything you want to say? You've been here for 6 years.
Very, very proud of the progress we've made. I think one of the things that we've addressed is we've lowered the tax rate. And the first year that I think the three of us, Mr. Money and I were, and you were on the council, we had passed a $12.6 million bond issue that was supposed to add 6.2 cents for a tax rate. We absorbed that entire thing in our budget. We didn't raise the tax rate at that time. And a couple of years ago, we implemented a tax rate that was a half cent below the effective rate, which meant almost all taxpayers would not see a tax a dollar over dollar tax increase. And I'm proud of those accomplishments. We've paved a lot of roads. I think we probably, I don't know, probably $20 or $25 million in bonds to fix many of our streets. I'm proud of the progress we see.
Good luck on the mayor race. Cedric, you've been here for 6 years, and you're also a candidate for mayor, so give you the opportunity.
Well, I'm looking for. I mean, I appreciate working with you guys. I value all you guys' opinion. I think we did an awesome job what we did with the city working together. I just encourage everyone to go out and vote. And at the end of the day, I'm your best candidate. That's it.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We need to break at this point and go into executive.
I'd like to say one thing. I think
you
one
had
of the
your
things
chance.
before the people is, can I say another thing?
No, it's too late.
It's not about me.
As long as it's not a campaign.
It's not campaigning, it is, I certainly hope that myself, and Al and Cedric all served on the transportation subcommittee that recommended the street bond. As you know, when you talk about Project Restore, you drive through our neighborhoods, you can't look at the new homes because of the potholes and that sort of thing. And we worked on that for the better part of probably 6 months. I certainly hope that I enjoyed working with the three of you, and the council approved that unanimously. Vote on, and I certainly hope that you'll vote to support that street bond. We proposed that in a way, if interest rates stay the same, it won't raise taxes at all. So we have a chance now. The $2 million we were spending every year on potholes wasn't making a dent in our street repair in this city. And this will give us an opportunity to fix it.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to close the open session, and we're going to go into executive session. I do not anticipate anything or require a vote afterwards. So you're welcome to stick around, but if you do so, you need to do it out in the lobby. Thank you.
The recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. wings to go. 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Need a part for the right price? Look for that red and blue sign. Henley Auto Supply at 1510 Stonewall. Over 800,000 CarQuest parts to choose from. Domestic, European, and Asian parts. Henley Auto Supply at 903-455-1969. 455-1969. Henley Auto Supply has the right part to keep your vehicle running and backed by the best hometown service. Henley Auto Supply. Great people, great products, great prices. Henley Auto Supply and CarQuest.